Oh, is it working now? Oh, I can hear myself. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Ben Haden. I'm a junior at Davidson, majoring in music and minoring in religious studies. And this semester, I've been really lucky to be able to complete an independent study with Dr. Lawing, who's here, in Trumpet Pedagogy. And it's been a real privilege to be able to work with a lot of different teachers from around the country virtually, and just start to know more about the field that I specialize in. And so what I've just played is called the Bugle Quick Step. It's a dance-like piece of music written by Francis Johnson. Francis Johnson was a keyed bugle player in addition to his composing, and he toured the United States with his band throughout the early 19th century. The solo was originally played on a B-flat or E-flat keyed bugle, so I played it on the E-flat trumpet. And I started with this piece because Francis Johnson was also African American, and his is one of many whose voices have been historically diminished and excluded in the study of classical music because of that identity. So I want to first acknowledge that there is, and there has been, and still is, an enormous lack of diversity in classical trumpet playing due to several systemic issues, and trumpet pedagogy is not independent of those. For a long time, music pedagogies have relied on pseudoscientific methods that can often be racist or sexist in nature and have contributed directly to the exclusion of women and people of color in the field. So after studying with several great trumpeters over the past semester from around the country, I hope to share today with you some of what they taught me, which I believe embodies a more kind of rigorous and empirical approach to classical music pedagogy that I hope can start replacing the harmful pseudoscientific methods of the past. So now I'm going to play a portion of a characteristic study written by Jean-Baptiste Arbin. Arbin was a French cornetist, and he this etude he wrote is a big technical challenge in a lot of ways. And so I studied with Alan Vizzuti. He's the first teacher I'm going to share a little bit about. Alan Vizzuti was an internationally renowned virtuoso soloist in classical, contemporary, commercial, and jazz settings, and he's authored several method books that I've studied from. When I studied with him, he really taught me that slowing down in practice never hurts, and it always helps. He helped me take a complex musical passage like this and break it down to its component elements and practice those independently so that I can put it back together. So for an excerpt like this, what he might have me do would be to first take it really slow and don't worry about really fingers or articulation or anything, and just be thinking about my air and how I'm using my air and centering the notes. And so I practice that way first. So it would be something like this. So just really slow and focused. And then what he might have me do separately would be to practice the fingerings. He taught me a trick by loosening my valve caps. It makes a lot of noise, and I can hear my fingers, so I can practice those totally independently. So I practice that silently just by going. And so I can listen for my rhythmic evenness and work on the fingers independently, so that when I put it back all together, I'm not having to worry about all of those things kind of at once. So if I put those things together, depending on how I do, it'll sound something like this. Thank you. All right. Okay, so next I'd like to talk a little bit about Michael Miller. I was able to work with Michael Miller both this spring and also a little bit over the winter break. And Michael Miller plays trumpet with the Cleveland Orchestra and teaches at the Cleveland Institute of Music in Ohio. What stuck with me from working with him is his suggestion to take, as he says, the middle road as it relates to musicianship and career opportunities as a classical musician especially, and also with repertoire. So part of what I mean by that is in the classical music, as a trumpet player, I could choose to only play like orchestral repertoire or to kind of leave all that behind and do my own thing. And kind of what he suggested is learning some repertoire, learning the orchestral style, being ready for an audition if it ever happens to come, but also developing a really wide variety of skills and putting value in any music that I enjoy and that my audience might enjoy, whatever that is. And so he also taught me to expand my technical boundaries well beyond the music that I'm playing. Even if I'm practicing things that I can't quite play, that are really hard, by doing that, what I actually need to do starts to mentally feel more secure and easy, just by trying to expand my boundaries that way. So the next piece I'm going to play is a really simple melody written in Vincent Chikowick's Flow Studies book. He was a prominent trumpet pedagogue in the 20th century. And it's a simple melody. It doesn't pose many significant technical challenges or show off orchestral brawn, but it's really nice to play, and it might be nice to listen to. And I think part of what Michael Miller helped me realize is that there's really value in that. And so I'll be playing this on my primary horn, the B-flat trumpet. Thank you. So next I'd like to talk some about Ashley Hall. I was able to study with Ashley Hall over this summer, thanks to a Davidson grant in addition to this spring. And Ashley Hall is one of America's leading soloists, especially as a cornetist, and she teaches trumpet at the Longy School of Music in Boston. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my music out here. Okay. So Ashley really helped me fundamentally change how I think about playing the trumpet, especially in terms of efficiency being a key way to improve my playing. And basically the idea behind that is that for any given note that I want to play at any given volume, there's a minimum kind of threshold of internal pressures I have to create that are required to produce that tone. And so another way of saying that is in order to get the lips to vibrate at a given frequency and amplitude, I have to have these certain minimum internal pressures. And so a lot of it is about learning what that minimum is and really just playing as quietly as possible to use as little pressure as possible. And then by doing that, I end up having kind of more in the tank left to expand my boundaries and to have better endurance. And so she helped me realize as well that there's only certain frequencies at which this horn fully resonates. The reason being that it's basically, a tube of a finite length, and with the physics of it, if only certain frequencies work out to really fully resonate the horn. I mean, it's not going to fully resonate with the bell cover, but but you get the idea. And so part of what she helped me learn was to really find those center frequencies in the notes and to aim for those to get the fullest possible sound and really get the most out of the horn relative to the air that I put in. And so what I'm going to play is a portion of Bach's first prelude to his first suite for cello. The challenge here is, it's jumping around a lot, and it's a challenge to really hit those resonant centers of the note. And it's also a challenge. It was interesting to play a piece written for a different instrument, which has a whole different set of technical challenges than the trumpet. So this is the first portion of the prelude. Thank you. So next, I'd like to speak a little bit about Stephen Emery. Stephen Emery he played in the Boston Symphony Orchestra and teaches at the New England and Boston conservatories. And he was also one of Ashley Hall's teachers, as well as the teacher of Brian Garland, who was my high school teacher. So two things I especially learned from him is one, to work on beginning to control the color, the timbre of my sound. And this was for him kind of the mark, one thing that he really looks for in conservatory auditions, is students who can control that. And then also the second thing is not being afraid to really say something with the music, to take risks, to really sing through a phrase, even if it means missing a note or two. And so what I'd like to play is the first bit of Theo Charlier's Etude Number 2. And this etude challenges me to control and even make contrast with the timbre, and also to sing through the phrases like Stephen Emery taught me. And I'll be playing this on the C trumpet because I appreciate its kind of clean sound for this etude. Thank you. Okay, so finally, I was also able to take a lesson with David Krauss. David Krauss is the co-principal trumpet of the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra in New York, and he teaches trumpet at the Manhattan School of Music, the Juilliard School, Mannes School of Music, and a handful of other New York City area schools, in addition to teaching at Tanglewood during the summer. So what David Krauss taught me is he has a synthesized concept of intonation and tone. He calls it intonation. And it's this idea that, that maintaining a consistent tone and timbre and maintaining consistent intonation really go hand in hand, and it's really hard to do one without really doing the other. And so he spoke to me about this, especially in relation to kind of the placement of the tongue inside of the mouth. So what he would have me do is play and then freeze, take the trumpet off, and then vocalize to see what kind of, how the shape of my tongue inside of my mouth is affecting the airstream that's going out. So you can think of this kind of like how vocalists sing with different vowels in some way. And so what was happening was I had it consistent going up, and then when coming down, my tongue would get lazy, causing the notes in my lower register to all sound flat, actually, even though I was hearing them as having a full sound. And so what I'm going to play as the last piece is an etude by Russian trumpeter Vasily Brandt. This etude is based on the offstage trumpet call from Beethoven's Leonore Overture No. 3, and that trumpet call is actually directly quoted at the end of the etude. So the challenge with this etude is that it jumps quickly across the different registers of the trumpet, and so it's a challenge to really retain a consistent, that intonation that David Krauss talked about, even as you do those kind of quick jumps across the range. So we'll go ahead and play this, and that'll be all. It blew away. I will start again. Sorry about that. Oh boy, so sorry. Oh gosh. This way. Okay. Sorry. Well, thank you very much. That's all for the presentation. Thanks for dealing with my wind difficulties. But I want to say a special thank you for Dr. Lawing for his guidance as both as a trumpet teacher and mentor during this study, and also for the last few years. And thank you to the folks at Davidson Arts and Creative Engagement for the grant support that allowed me to pursue this project, and especially to the music department for their continued support. So thanks everybody for being here, and hope you have a great rest of your day.